Okay. Um. So so the idea is to like refine a little bit, right? So instead of just like AI generated books, right? That's good, Abby. But the aim of this whole thing is to create escapism, right? Unlimited escapism, right? So you could argue that you can make an argument that AI is very good at creating things, right? But it needs some form of guidance, right? So my initial proposition for creating like a perfect escapism, right? My initial recipe was that you take a book, right? So let's say again for the end time, Children of Blood and Bone, and then the AI will like reimagine it for you, right? As as something else. So here's how I think the interface will work in my head. This is before I refined everything, right? You pick like so let's say you know how that grid on Amazon or Amazon Kindle, when you open it you just see this grid of books. Yeah, very cool. So let's say you pick Children of Blood and Bone, right? That would be like the original grid, and then the remaining 11 books on that grid, right? They will be like so let's say Children of Blood and Bone. No, let's not use Children of Blood. Let's do the Sirens. So let's say a sci-fi version of the Sirens, right? So instead of like mermaids, right? It's going to be aliens luring like astronauts into like a black hole, deep space, stuff like that. Do you understand? So that was like my initial, and then you have like different variations of it. You could have like, you could have like another. You can have like a like a religious like tone to that, like Pilgrim's Progress, for instance, right? So the same story, but like in Pilgrim's Progress format. So like the Sirens would be one of the, let's say the guy going on his pilgrim, right? The Sirens will be one of the things that will tempt him on his pilgrim, stuff like that. That's how I thought it was going to be, right? And then, go put this new idea in a better version of it in my head, which is I call the feature "Let Him Cook." You know what I mean? Let him cook. Okay, so that "Let Him Cook" is you combine two books, right? So you can combine something like the Sirens and like Gulliver's Travel, right? Combine those two books, and then the AI will pick those two books, and it will create like a new book based off that, which is kind of good, but that is not like mad enough, right? Right. But so I think that the best. So I didn't realize that the title, the what I was supposed to do was like staring up at me all along, right? Essentially, this like when this idea was conceptualized in my head, it was like when God gave it to me essentially, it was like the Netflix of books, right? But think about it. What if you just took that term literally, like Netflix and books, right? So like books plus Netflix, right? So you take a book, you pick a book, and then you pick a movie or a series, and then the AI will generate a new book. It could be based off that, right? So let's say you pick something like Children of Blood and Bone, right? And then you pick, you go on, and then to show you like a catalog of movies, right? Like, for instance, Dune. Dune, like Dune has part one, Dune has part two, right? So imagine Children of Blood and Bone plus Dune, right? So that's Frank. So that's like instead of Children of Blood and Bone being set in like this village in Nigeria that it was set in, right? No, it's now set on planet Arrakis, like desert planet Arrakis, like Dune. Do you understand? So the setting is now Dune. Like it's going to be so crazy, and then you have like a full book that is generated on that, right? And it's like page by page conversation, and this is not just like normal like AI just giving you a write up. This one's like page by page reasoning models. They are using reasoning models, all these O1, O4Z, all these reasoning models, right? That the ones that are going to generate every conversation for you, page by page by page by page by page. Do you understand? They have chapters like a proper book. So it's like it's so properly done, right? Essentially, that's what the app is going to be like. You pick a book, and then you pick a movie. There's something called IMDb, which is like, I think it's called International Movie Database. Do you understand? So, so you pick a book, right? You select a book, and then immediately you also pick like a movie, and then the AI is going to give you like a story based off that, and then you can tweak the story like that. Again, like literature is called Let Him Cook. And then if you don't want to read, if you don't want to read it, you can listen to it as an audiobook. Do you understand? Yeah, so that's what. So that's what I'm going to build out. Or you, if you want, you can combine two books. You can mix like two books. You can mix. Dune is also a book, by the way, but I'm not talking about the Dune book. I'm talking about like the movie that they've already like fine-tuned. Do you understand? Because you think about it, yeah, movies need to be like recycled. The only time movies are, when you think about them, yeah, they're like a one-time use thing. They're like they are not eco-friendly when you think about them, right? Because they're like a one-time use thing. You just use the movie, you watch the movie once, and then okay, maybe you watch it another time, maximum, or twice or thrice, maximum, right? And then that's it, you're done with it. And that whole body of work has like it has been wasted. The only time you kind of like get you get to watch the movie again is if somebody does like if they reshoot the movie. I don't know what it's called. I've forgotten the name. Like when you take a movie that has been done before and then you reshoot that movie. So that's how, like, so movies are essentially not recyclable, right? But with this kind of technique, right, you can actually recycle. It's like recycling movies, right? And then you like refresh it. You take a book, you take a movie, then you recycle it. And then you can always get like an unlimited variant of that. Do you understand? So if you have like a favorite movie, someone has like a favorite movie. So for instance, Forrest Gump, right? You can take something like Forrest Gump, which is like a very famous, or like The Sopranos, right? You can take like The Sopranos and then you combine it with something like you can even combine it like a children's book, like a children's cookbook or something, like, or a story about like, let me look for a story that's like very like The Sopranos, and you take it and you combine it with something like or Snow White. Snow White and The Sopranos. Imagine that combo. It's new, stuff like that. You know, like a book based of like Snow White and The Sopranos. Do you understand? So like, I've not watched The Sopranos before, but just like that combination in my head alone is even like is nice. So something like that. That's what the app is going to be like about. But it's going to be like in this Amazon Kindle format. And then you can also listen to it as an audiobook if you're not the patient type. That's the next thing I'm building. I don't know what I'll call it. I'm still going to think about how to refine it, but you know, that's what it is right now.